welcome everyone to this another meeting of Ibn Arabi Society, Kashmir and Australia. We keep hosting these meetings every Sunday, so it is our pleasure to warmly welcome today our very special guest, Dr. Sameer Siddiqui, who has in fact already been historically, in a way we can say, he has a very special distinction of getting we can say, special transmission of Ibn Arabi in his lineage, and there has been a great tradition of teaching Ibn Arabi in the Khanqahs previously in the subcontinent, and there have been some special and gifted teachers in Kashmir who were very specially interested in Ibn Arabi. And Sameer Siddiqui happens to be in that family. So he has, throughout his life, he has been engaging Ibn Arabi. And I was last time, we had a long conversation and we were puzzled by his novel way of addressing certain issues. So he has done PhD in Islamic studies. He has command over several languages. He has written on various Sufi themes, and he has most importantly, he is attempting his best to live that life that Ibn Arabi asked us to live. He is practicing correctly sheep farming that our Prophet ﷺ has recommended us, and that has a special mystical symbolism attached to it. So he has, in a way, tried to create that detachment of heart and mind so that God, ultimately, we are being able to, guided by God. God directly teaches us. So it is over to Siddiqui Sahab, and we welcome all participants who have joined us today. Bismillah kijiye, Sameer Sahab. Just unmute yourself.
You are still muted, Dr. Siddiqui.
Unmute yourself.
You are still muted. You are still muted, Dr. Siddiqui. You need to press the unmute button. I think now it's okay. Go ahead.
Am I audible?
Yes, you are now. Yes.
Okay. Bismillahir Rahmanir Rahim. Alhamdulillahi Rabbil Alameen. Wassalatu wassalamu ala ashrafil anbiya wal mursaleen wa alihi at-tayyibin at-tahirin ila yawmiddin. It is a matter of immense pleasure for me to have been invited before this august company of you people. In the previous month also, I had been invited to have an interaction with you people, but I literally evaded that very meeting myself because I was not feeling a sort of flow in my own inner being and in my words. So I could not utter a word that time, because there are times when you have to be in a state of bast. That is when you find the center of your own circumference, because circumference flows out of the center. Even today, I'm not feeling that much flow in my own self, and I must admit that it may be an artificiality to talk something superficially about the intricate these aspects of being and existence. So I can do no better than to recite or than to read a paper which I had prepared for a university journal, but later on it was not published because I found something missing or lacking in the paper. So, but I think it will suffice for the present. The theme of the paper is influence of Ibn Arabi's Wahdatul Wujud on Sheikh Nuruddin Rishi's thought. In Kashmir, we have a prominent mystic saint who is known as Sheikh Nuruddin Rishi. and in popular parlance, he is known as Nundrishi. And I have showcased, I want to depict that how the thought of Ibn al-Arabi, how the mystical mood of Ibn al-Arabi was captured down the line in our countrysides, how our those mystic mendicants and prayers, and how the mystics in the countryside, how the mystical aura of Ibn Arabi percolated down to our village folk, and how it became a popular sentiment, and how it became a popular mood among the general populace as such, and how Ibn Arabi has just, his thought has percolated down from the ivory tower, and how it has percolated down the line to our countryside. So let me begin with the words that man has often tried to transcend his immediate biological existence by virtue of striving to delve deeper into the essential meaning of his own being, the essential meaning of his being sharing a unison with all being and existence. It's the prime focus of all meaningful religious traditions, whether Semitic or non-Semitic, to see a purposeful unity within the multifarious diversity of the world around man. It is this intrinsic unity and cohesion within the cosmic diversity which survives the shifting paradigms of time and space, and which makes man psycho-spiritually prepared to see this cosmos, which otherwise is a multiverse, as the universe. It is this universal, monistic, and eternal meaning of all being and existence which has filled the psychological, philosophical, spiritual, and religious idiom of human race with the concept of divinity, a concept which explains for both the adepts and laymen that how things of diverse nature share a unitary essence by being linked to the common divine principle. Upanishadic teachings, being a prominent example of the non-Semitic religious tradition, beautifully expounds this state of unitary experience of man with the rest of cosmos by making the bold assertion of Tat Tavam Asi in Sanskrit, which means, my Lord, thou art I. It wants to find a purposeful meaning of man's existence by identifying the human self, Atman, with Brahman, the ultimate divine principle, which is the be-all and end-all of the entire cosmos. Now, Islam, being the last of the major Semitic religious tradition, has also visualized this purposeful unity within the cosmic diversity in its own right. Although Islam does not believe in the deification of the creation, yet Holy Quran wants the believers to see the signs and traces of divine creative wisdom within the entire cosmos, Afaq, and within the recesses of man's inner self, Anfus. And about the same, Holy Quran states, "Sanurihim ayatina fil afaqi wa fi anfusihim hatta yatabayyana lahum annahu al-haq." And verily we will show them our signs in the horizons and within the inner self, so that it becomes manifest to the people that he only is the truth. In fact, Quran wants to see the signs of divine grace and beauty within each and every phenomenon surrounding man, whether it be the alteration of the day and night, the blowing of the winds and flow of rivers, or even within the natural creatures like a honeybee or even a mosquito. Holy Quran does not only see the traces of creative wisdom permeated through and through the universe, but it even focuses its intention towards the fact that God is the light of the entire cosmos. Allahu nur samawati wal ard. Allah is the light of the heavens and earth. Holy Quran explicitly maintains that the exalted Almighty God, being transcendent in his own right, is verily nigh to the man, thus being paradoxically transcendent with the cosmos and even immanent within it. Holy Quran states about the same, وَإِذَا سَأَلَكَ عِبَادِي أَنِّي فَإِنِّي قَرِيبٌ. And O Prophet, when my servants ask you concerning me, then surely I am very near to them. Now, taking a clue from verses like this and many more, the Sufis of Islam, right from the beginning, have tried to replicate these Quranic injections about God's immanence in spite of his transcendence within their specific mystical experiences. For them, the concept of divinity was neither to be analyzed nor synthesized within the rational or intellectual discourse. For them, it was an intricate personal experience to be deeply felt by a sort of personal communion with him. This personal communion with the otherwise transcendent divine was to be felt by remembering the divine zikr and by supplicating to him in dua. In fact, there are various verses in the Holy Quran about this zikr, dua, remembrance and supplication, which for Sufis are a handy testimony to the fact that Holy Quran wants a believer to cultivate a psycho-spiritual mood, wherein a Sufi feels a proximity with the divine being. It is this mode of proximity with God which a Sufi perceives immanent, not only in himself but also within the every encountering cosmic phenomenon. This mode of spiritual unison of God with all being and existence, including mystics' own being, the same spiritual experience of a Sufi has been beautifully explained in these couplets of great Persian poet and mystic Maulana Jalaluddin Rumi Rahmatullah alayh, when he says, Jumla mashok asto ashik pardai, zinda mashok asto ashik murdai, parro bale u kamande ishk mas, me kashanish me kashatta ishk dost. Nuri udar yumno yusro tahta folk, barsaro bar gardanam chutaj. The beloved is all and the lover is not. The beloved is alive and the lover is dead. The love of the beloved is a snare, which pulls our every feather towards the friend's street. That God's light is on our right side and on the left and beneath us and above us. It's upon our heads like a crown and about our necks like a chain. Although this mystical mood of Sufis has been variously expressed by great many Sufis like Zunnun Misri, Maruf Karhi, Siri Sakti, Abu Bakr Shibli, Hussain al-Mansur al-Hallaj, Maulana Jalaluddin Rumi, to name a few. Yet, their expression of this divine unity being the real ground of all being and existence has only been restricted to a specific tone and tenor of their personal realization, and has not proceeded much further than the vague expression of their mystical emotions. In fact, the real work of theorizing this mystical mood and sentiment of observing the divine being as the real ground of all being and existence rests upon the shoulders of the 13th century Andalusian mystic and polymath, Abu Bakr Muhammad ibn al-Arabi al-Hatimi al-Ta'i, popularly known as Ibn al-Arabi. Sheikh Ibn al-Arabi's doctrine of oneness of being or the oneness of existence, Wahdatul Wujud, describes that God is the absolute being and is the source of all existence. In him alone, being and existence are one and inseparable. Further, according to Ibn Arabi, the universe possesses relative being, either actual or potential. It's both, and let me state it in the words of Arthur J. Orbury. He says, the universe possesses relative being, either actual or potential. And according to Ibn Arabi, it is both eternal existent and temporal non-existent. Eternal existent as being in God's knowledge, and temporal non-existent as being external to God. In Ibn Arabi's elaborate theosophy as propounded in his theosophical compendium Al-Futuhatul Makkiyah, and nonetheless his famous treatise Fususul Hikam, the phenomenal world prior to its existence was pre-eternally present within the knowledge of God as immutable entities, al-ayanus sabita. And it is these immutable entities which, without losing their real ground in God's knowledge and existence, came into being as existent realities, al-ayanul mawjuda, within this temporal and fleeting paradigms of time and space. The time and space itself having no real existence other than the one related to the existent entities, which in turn are grounded for their own existence upon their primordial concept of immutable realities, present within the eternal divine knowledge. Although the mystical sentiment of oneness of being, Wahdatul Wujud, as mentioned already, was always present within the mystical consciousness of Muslim Sufis, but Ibn Arabi gave the particular terminology for this sentiment to speak for itself. And consequently, the Sufis, after Ibn Arabi, in order to express their deep felt realization of the oneness of being, have always been indebted to Ibn Arabi's usage of specific terminology and method of augmentation vis-a-vis Wahdatul Wujud. The craze of quoting Ibn Arabi to bring one's point home became a rage throughout the length and breadth of the entire Islamdom. Shortly after Ibn Arabi's demise, the opposition to Ibn Arabi's seemingly pantheistic doctrines, of which of course it wasn't, also led to the dissemination of Ibn Arabi's ideas, particularly regarding his concept of Wahdatul Wujud, among the learned and laymen alike. The shared literalist theologians like Ibn Taymiyyah outrightly termed Ibn Arabi as a heretic, while many like 18th century South Asian reformer and mystic Shah Waliullah and many more of his stature described Ibn Arabi as the greatest teacher, Sheikh al-Akbar. As already mentioned, last but not least, as already mentioned, the influence of Sheikh Ibn Arabi on Muslim Sufis has been prominent, and South Asia in general, and the Valley of Kashmir in particular, being the cradle of great mystic legacy, also got influenced by the doctrine of Wahdatul Wujud as propounded by Ibn Arabi. And in Kashmir, we have our own indigenous mystical order, which is known as Rishi Silsila, Rishi order. Rishis were, particularly, it was the name given to the Hindu mystics, Rishi. But later on, when Islam, the Valley of Kashmir was dominated by Islam, by the efforts and by the tabligh of Mir Sayyid Ali Hamadani, most of the Kashmiri population, including those Hindu Rishis, Hindu mystics, they too accepted Islam. But they continued their mystical practices, rigorous mystical practices in the forests, deeper in the woods, and their name as Rishi, it continued as such. And those Rishis, one of the prominent Rishi in Kashmir was Sheikh Nuruddin Rishi Rahmatullahi Alayh. And he is considered as the patron saint of Kashmir, and that way he is known as Alamdar-e-Mulk Kashmir, that is the flag bearer of the Valley of Kashmir. And it is this Sheikh al-Alam, Sheikh Nuruddin Rishi Rahmatullahi Alayh, although he was an illiterate villager, and he didn't go to any formal institution for gaining religious education as such. And his he used to meditate deep in the woods and used to roam throughout the Kashmir to inculcate spiritual ethos and mystical ethos among the local populace. And Sheikh Nuruddin Rishi Rahmatullahi Alayhi was introduced to the mystical philosophy of Ibn Arabi by the teachings of Shah Hamdan Amir Kabir Mir Sayyid Ali Hamadani, a sage from the Central Asia who came to Kashmir, and because of his efforts, and there was a mass transformation of the Kashmir Valley within the fold of Islam. And Sheikh Nuruddin Rishi Rahmatullah Alayhi, while eulogizing Hazrat Shah Hamdan Mir Sayyid Ali Hamadani and cherishing his mystical legacy, he says in Kashmiri language, Mir Hamdan karhai kal korbana, chuk miran hun mir to danahan hun dana. Oh, the saint of Hamadan, patron saint of Hamadan, Sayyid Ali, this Sheikhul Alam, Sheikh Nuruddin, he wants us to bow his head in obeisance before your feet, at your feet, because you are the torch bearer of the spiritual ethos of Islam. And it is this, by virtue of Sayyid Ali Hamadani, that Sheikh Nuruddin Nurani and other rishis of Kashmir came to know about this philosophy of Wahdatul Wujud, because Sayyid Ali Hamadani has given many indications here and there in his treatises about various aspects of Wahdatul Wujud. And even Sayyid Ali Hamadani has written a short compendium by the name of Halul Fasus, which is which lies with me also in the written manuscript of the form. And Halul Fasus means that Sayyid Ali Hamadani Rahmatullahi Alayhi has tried to simplify most of the technical terms of Fususul Hikam for the novices. And it is because of Sayyid Ali Hamadani that Sheikhul Alam and his sons Mir Muhammad Hamdani, that Sheikhul Alam Sheikh Nuruddin Nurani got a feeling, and he felt the aura of this concept and philosophy of Wahdatul Wujud. And in Sheikh Nuruddin Nurani Rahmatullah Alayhi's Kalam, his poetry, he was a poet and he used to compose poetry, and there are many indications in his poetry and wherein he has tried to delve deeper upon the problems of being and existence. For example, Sheikh Nuruddin Nurani Rahmatullah Alayhi, he at one place he says, Ab Sheen to Tulkatu, Bun Kornak Asheen, Yamat Purikin Kotuk Rao, Tamat Rashuni Akuigo. That is water, ice, and this water vapor. They are three different manifestations of the same water. When the sun arose from the east, ice too melted into water, water vapor too became water. That means that these are the different forms of the same water. And in the same sense, he says, Haratimetsi, Bonatimetsi, Metsi Kartam Gulzar, Sari Trayut Rotumakmetsi, Metsi Ditam Panundidar. Oh my God, I don't see anybody other than you above me. I don't see anybody beneath me. So it's my earnest wish that let you give me your beatific vision. And in the same way, he says, according to Nundarishi, Sheikh Nuruddin Nurani, he used this philosophy of Wahdatul Wujud in a sense to build a communal harmony between the communities. He says, when our God is one, and he is all pervading, and he is everywhere. When all Hindus as well as Muslims, they have descended from the same parent, Adam and Eve, then why is there a discord and strife between the communities, this and that? So that way, this perennial philosophy of Ibn al-Arabi, Sheikh Nuruddin Nurani, our patron saint of Kashmir, he used this very mystical mood and sentiment in the in a sense. He used it in a sociological sense to build to bridge the gap between the communities. And it is this very mood and sentiment which is still carried on in our village, which is still carried on in our streets in Kashmir. And it is this that our ancestors, they too had inculcated these mystical tendencies in them, that they used to perceive and feel God in each and everything. And thereupon, this mood and sentiment helped in building an egalitarian society in our in Kashmir. And I think I cannot go further because I'm not feeling that much comfortable, because I am not used to this mode of communication. And to be honest with you, I have first or second time I am here like this upon internet. I am not used to this internet thing, and it's something I feel a bit, it is something alien to me. If you people had been before me, maybe I would have felt something and I would have talked to you endlessly. But this thing, I feel, this internet thing, I feel something missing, that I cannot communicate. So I'm really very sorry that if I have not been up to the mark, and now I leave it upon you. So if there is any interaction, maybe it may help us to go forward.
Yes, thank you. Thank you very much, Dr. Sameer. It was beautiful to hear what you're saying. If this is how you speak when there is no flow, I would love to see you when there is a flow. No, thank you very much. This internet is foreign to all of us, but some of us just continue regardless. We can't get the whole thing, but we get as much of it as we can. God pulls us and pushes us as much as possible. We want to respond to that and do the best we can. So we cannot do 100%, but anything less than that is better than zero. So we will do our best. And thank you so much for having done that. You have done your best. Thank you very much, Dr. Sameer, and it was very good. And thank you also for offering to make interaction for people who want to have a comment or ask questions. If that it still is okay with you, we can try and you decide how you want to respond. That's not a problem. We don't judge you at all. We're not in a position to trust our judgment even. So if we judge you, we will be silly. We will be showing how silly we are. So thank you so much. If anyone has any comments or questions, or they'd like to have a discussion with Dr. Sameer Siddiqui, please feel free to go ahead.
Can I get in, sir?
Yes, please go ahead. Is that Taslim? Yes, Taslim, please do.
Yes. Thank you very much, sir, for allowing me to ask a question. I have been a big fan of Dr. Sameer for a long time, and I enjoyed his talk very thoroughly. I'm sure that there was enough food for thought for everybody in his deliberation. My straightforward question to him would be that I think that it's a big challenge in this part of the world, that is the valley of Kashmir, which is already known for it is Rishiyat Sufism, which has an indigenous tradition of its own. Would it be or would it not be a challenging task for all of us, particularly intelligentsia and Sufi practitioners, to carry forward this legacy and at the same time introduce the insights of Ibn Arabi in the contemporary world and highlight the relevance of them. I hope I am clear.
Yes, you are very much clear. And I think in today's world, which is thoroughly just marked by materialism, it is not a challenge only in Kashmir, but everywhere. Because people are not living religion. They are not experiencing religion. They are only reading it through books. They are just analyzing God. For them, God is just like a mechanical concept which is to be analyzed or which is to be synthesized. And I think you cannot understand God. You cannot comprehend him by virtue of logic, because you have to experience it. You have to experience religion, your own inner being. For example, when you go for salah, when you go for namaz, you have not only to recite namaz, but there has to be some mood, there has to be some feeling which is to be inculcated by virtue of this very prayer or namaz. And only reading about things and only analyzing the things endlessly, I think when you speak about God, I think it is much about your sense of belongingness, a sense of personal communion with God. And when you are there for a personal communion with God, it at times defies logic. It is not illogical as such, but love has its own logic. So you need and when you say that it's a challenge, yes, definitely it is a challenge, but I think you cannot just to speak about these personal experiences and your personal communion with the higher being, higher self. You cannot communicate it in the large audiences. It is I think it is person to person. For example, we in Persian, we have a word hamdard. Hamdard means those which have the same pain. And you can feel my pain only if you yourself have a bit of the feeling of the pain. I cannot tell you what my pain looks like, whether it is triangular, whether it is circular, or what color or what hue my pain, of what color it is. So it's only that I can say that let you have the pain which is in me, so that you can also feel the aura and the blessing of that very divine pain, the pangs of pain or the pangs of separation from the divine being. So it is all personal. So we must not bother much about the things that can we communicate it just in a literal sense or not. So I think each and every person, when he becomes fed up from his own day-to-day course of life, he too wants to find a higher meaning in his to his life. And some people, they just then follow these follow the leads, and some people, they just neglect those their own pangs of pain. They neglect these pangs of pain. So it is for you, it's personally for you, and you are accountable for this thing, I think.
Thank you. Thank you.
Okay.
Beautiful. Thank you very much, Dr. Siddiqui. Anyone else feel like they would like to have a question or discussion or a comment to Dr. Siddiqui, please?
Yeah, I would like to give a bit of a brief comment plus a question. Yeah.
Okay.
Thank you, Dr. Siddiqui. It was a wonderful presentation. It gave me a lot of insights about Hazrat Ibn Arabi and his influence in Kashmir, and the way you have explained the lot of rishis have gave them a language to express their understanding of God. And so Ibn Arabi's language helped them to explain. And as a result, Mir Sayyid Ali Hamdani, he tried to simplify various hard terminologies within Fusus al-Hikam. So I think it will be interested to find a copy of that Tahlul Fulus, the Fusus, that book. Is there any book form available, that one, or is just still a manuscript?
I have
Did
not
he write
seen
it in
any.
Arabic or Farsi?
It's in Persian. It's in Persian.
Ah, okay. So anyway, Shah Waliullah was one of the famous, of course, there's South Asian alim who actually positively wrote about Ibn Arabi. Another one I'm familiar with, Shah Muhibullah Ilahabadi. Are you familiar with him as well? Or? So
yes, I
okay, so the question I have is, you beautifully explained about eternal Gaibe Mutlak, Batin, versus Zahir, temporal non-existence, and then this immanence versus transcendence, which simultaneously distinguish between this pantheistic understanding of some of the Indian philosophers who see just the Zahir, which is this pantheistic view that whatever is in the universe, that is the living God. So would you give a bit of commentary on that side of where people go wrong? Because sometimes Hamaust, all is he, is what confuses people. If you say all is he, Hamaust, people get confused. But he is all is not he at the same time. Because as you mentioned, it's a temporal non-existence. Whatever we see is not he, because it's a temporal. So if you can give a bit of clarification or your understanding through the silsila you have learned, especially through the Sheikh Nuruddin and Nurani Rishi, yeah, that will be helpful if you can. Yeah, okay. Thank you.
Okay, I got it. So basically, the concept of Wahatul Wujud, the answer to the problem doesn't lie in yes or no, because there are many because there are many questions which don't have a direct answer in yes or no. It is simultaneously yes as well as no. That the entire universe is God and it is not God. And now it has to be put in a perspective. So let me say, for example, this entire universe is the manifestation of God, and manifestation of God, and manifestation is something else. It is of God and not God himself. And so manifestation is contingent, something contingent, but it is from of the necessary being. So we can say like this, that we have a piece of gold and we make an ornament out of it. We make just a necklace out of it, or we make something else, an earring out of it. Well, we can say that this earring is gold and gold is earring, but still earring for its existence is dependent upon the gold, but gold as such is not dependent upon the existence of the earring. So that way, entire universe is dependent for its existence upon God, but still God is not dependent upon his own manifestations. He may be a hidden treasure, and he is still complete. A treasure may be hidden, but still it is a full treasure. But the only thing Ibn Arabi wants to say is that then it got manifested. So pantheists say that the sum total of the universe is God, and God is the sum total of the entire universe. But here it is yes and no. Yes, because the entire plan of this universe, it lies with God as ayanu sabita. and then he said be, and it became. For example, Quran says, let me clarify it in the words of Holy Quran. Quran says, for Almighty Allah, when Allah Almighty want to make a thing, create a thing, he says kun fayakun. He says to it be, and it becomes. If nothing exists, what is the thing to which God says be? If nothing existed prior to it is becoming, the thing was not existent prior to it is becoming. But Quran says that he says to the thing be, and it becomes. That means the thingness is there. Something is there to which God says be, and it becomes. And where was the thing before it became? It was as an immutable reality, as ayanu sabita, within the eternal knowledge of God. That the plan existed there within the eternal knowledge of God, and as such the world is eternal in the sense that it exists within the eternal immutable knowledge of God. But when it became manifested, it is accidental, it is hadith. But still, it is based upon the plan of that very immutable reality. But still there, when it is accidental, when it is hadith, when it becomes manifest, the manifestation too. I can just give an example. I sometimes myself write some couplets in Kashmiri at a particular place. I had written in Kashmiri language, Abas malarchi lach hazar, talkan kuni chak joyibar, aslas fasul tay wasul cha, jana namarai azyapada. That is, water flows through the river, but there water is in a pond. You just make a stir and it creates ripples. You can count those ripples, 1, 2, 3, 4. There are hundreds and thousands, but still it is the one and the same water. Or for example, you just take a rope and you just tie knots upon the rope. You can count those knots. These are 1, 2, 3, 4, but still the rope is, all the knots are rope. But now, knot is the manifestation of the rope, and knot depends upon the rope, but rope itself does not depend upon the existence of a knot. And it's like this. Thank you. Okay, I think
Thanks. That was beautiful. Thank you.
Thank you, Dr. Sameer. Thank you. Does anyone else like to ask a question, please, or make a comment?
I'd like to ask a question.
Yes, please go ahead, Namus.
Assalamu alaikum, Dr. Saab. My question is, I guess, bit off topic. It's about the idea of God in general. I've realized something. I mean, I have been reading about Ibn Arabi since a long time, and I do thoroughly enjoy it. But I also see that there is a certain gap between, on the one hand, you have materialists who won't consider a higher meaning or a higher reality. But at the same time, there are people who don't read books, who don't read philosophy, but they seem to find, they seem to have a certain connection with God that I don't think I have, even though I read a lot about God and I talk a lot about God. So how do we practically develop that connection, that sense of belongingness with God that I know it doesn't come from books, it comes from somewhere else, and I still struggle with it?
You are right. Even Holy Quran says about those people who just carry on books. It says, "Masalul ladhina hamilut Tawrat." Some those people, the misal, the example of those people who have read the Tawrat, but still they are not capable of carrying the real meaning of the Tawrat. Kamasal Himar, their example is just like the donkeys who are carrying loads here and there. And our patron saint in Kashmir, Sheikh Nuruddin, says, Paran par gai khali, khar gai kitab bari hai. By reading only, you have just, by cramming, by rote learning only, you have just filled the pages. And the donkeys, they are all going here and there with their loads only. It is just like this. So you cannot, basically, deen, basically religion is not a book, it's man. Because religion is meant for man. So the be all and end all of the religion and religious experience is man. You have to feel it for yourself. For example, Rumi says, Sad kitabo sad warak dar nar kun, roye dil rajanibe dildar kun. You just burn these hundreds and thousands of books, just try to face the mirror of your heart towards your beloved. And you have to do nothing, but what you have to do, you have to be with the afflicted lovers of the God. You have to be in their company. But it is also very difficult to find those godly men. Where do you find them? Because unfortunately, most of this mystical discourse, if I say about our subcontinent, most of this mystical discourse, it has been turned into something of a superstition. And people just say that to ward off those genies, these ghosts, etc., and this black magic and this all these, and people just call those very people as Sufis. But it's not like this. Sufi is not to be Sufi is not a profession. To be a Durvesh, to be an afflicted lover of God, it's not a profession. It doesn't come out of a conscious effort to be something. So it's all that when you have a company with the lovers of God, and you can just feel their sincerity. You can just feel their truthfulness, because it's always ingrained within the human existence that what is good and what is bad. So you can feel it yourself, and you have to be with them. You have to be in their company, and you have to develop a personal communion with the God. And the most precious thing is that just my sheikh used to say, just like an orphan child, just like he weeps for his mother, an afflicted lover of God, he must feel the pangs of separation from the divine beloved, that why I am not experiencing him nigh to myself. So getting involved in it, firstly, it is as something as psychological mood, then it becomes something psycho-spiritual, then it gives way to those spiritual experiences, and it's your own experience then. And your experience will not suffice me, and mine will not suffice you. Everybody has to walk on his own legs, and you have to experience it for your own self. Even if you go to a sheikh, but experience is always yours. It's only prophet whose experiences, not experiences, whose each and every thing, whatever he says, is binding upon me. But for a Sufi, his experiences are not binding upon us. They are their own experience. For example, Ghazali says in Al-Manqaz Madhalal, his autobiography, it has been even translated by Montgomery Watt in English, deliverance from the error he has named it. And thereupon Ghazali says that if a person just writes many treatises upon the phenomenon of drinking wine, he can say that a person gets intoxicated and he can talk endlessly, but he has not himself tasted wine even a single time in his life. So he can only write about it, but he cannot feel the intoxication. And on the other hand, you have a person who has not written a book, who is an unlettered man, but he has once tasted the intoxication. Although he cannot write a book, but he has the originality of the experience. And those who are writing endlessly but don't have any originality of experience, they are only writing it, they are paraphrasing it for others, and they are nowhere themselves. So it is a personal experience, and you have to develop a personal communion. And now there are various I think various ways by which you can strengthen your those you can strengthen your communion with God. Thank you.
Thank you so much.
Thank you very much, Dr. Siddiqui. I'd like to ask you a question, if you don't mind, please, Dr. Siddiqui. I hope you will take it with as much humility as I can muster. I do not have that much knowledge, but I do have a question which, when you stated in the beginning you mentioned the word state of bust. I don't really know what bust means in this context, but when you mentioned the word flow after that, and then you mentioned the circumference, I had a feeling I know what you meant. You meant probably something like we are humans, and as a human, we are lacking, of course, a lot. But when we become a spiritual murid and we are on the path, we start learning, whether it's reading books or doing zikr or sincerely and honestly praying and wanting to reach the developmental spiritual development towards God. Maybe we can even use the word Ibn Arabi calls al-insan al-kamil, which eventually we can come to. But until a person reaches al-insan al-kamil, whether that's possible or not for us humans, I don't know. But we are always not at the top. We are always somewhere, either in the middle or a quarter of the way or 3/4 of the way or 5% of the way or 2% of the way. We are somewhere, but we are also most likely not necessarily at zero. Many of us may be at zero, but I hope that people like who are here today, I hope that we are not at zero, maybe at least 1 or 2% towards this 100%. So what I see then in my case, I look at myself experientially and I say, well, okay, I am not there, so I have to be humble and not pretend that I know. But at the same time, I do know something. And that's something I should not deny it. I, of course, should not say, I know it, therefore, look at me, I know something in an egoic way, because even that knowledge that I have is coming from God. It's not me, it's God's knowledge. So I'll have to acknowledge that I'm merely I'm merely allowing or opening for God to express it through me. But I see it's very important for me, from my experience, to actually have the confidence to talk about that and not to say, well, I don't know, I don't have the floor, therefore I will not talk. I feel like talking about it and expressing it is much better than not expressing it, even though I don't have the full picture. Do you feel there's arrogance in this way of speaking, or do you feel that we can still do that with humility? Please, Dr. Sameer.
Yes, I think you are right that we must not cultivate a perfectionist syndrome that we must be perfect in each and everything, because God only is perfect. But for as regards my case, what I basically wanted to convey was that I didn't want to be artificial as such, that I have to stage manage myself for you or him. So I just thought that whenever I want to talk to you, it must be my original self. For example, the speaker wants that he creates an image in his mind that let me influence or let me impress you people like this. So I think these are idols. These are idols which we people must break, and we must always check our intention. And my intention is for me to check my intention. So I was a bit basically I was a bit abhorred, and with all humility I am saying it. It was something that I have to speak before this August gathering. You are all very much knowledgeable than me, so how can I communicate with the people like you? You are already in this field, you have researched a lot about, and I am just a village rustic. so I thought that, and I am not used to this internet thing also. So it was in this sense that I said so. But now I have been encouraged that you said that okay, it's okay with us. So inshallah in future also, in spite of my shortcomings, if you are so much accommodative, then it's very easy for me, inshallah.
Thank you very much, Dr. Sameer. Yeah, we all, I respect and love very much your humility. Thank you very much. Yes, someone wanted to say something and I stopped them. Please go ahead. Is it Dr. Tanveer Hayat? You wanted to say something? Yes, please.
There's a hand raised by Fariz.
Yes, the hand. Yes, please, Fariz Gulzar. Please go ahead. Yes.
Assalamu alaikum, sir. Sir, I have two questions. First one is clarification question, and second one is proper question. First one is, sir, when you are talking about contingent beings and the necessary being, and as you said that contingent beings are dependent on the necessary being, and it's not the other way around. So my question is, still you were talking about the continuity between the two, as you talked about the rope and the knots, and similar other examples about water and its different forms. So I want to ask, sir, how is it different from pantheism? Just a clarification question, because I'm quite confused about it. How is it different from Hamaust?
As I had requested in the very and on the very onset, that it's not like this that every question has an answer in yes or no, that whether God is entire universe is God, and you say yes or no. So it's not a definite yes and it's not a definite no, but it is a matter of experience. And when you experience it, it becomes ineffable. That you cannot describe it in the words. Basically, what Ibn Arabi has done, he has given a doctrinal shape to the very mystical experience, which is otherwise ineffable. And even Ibn Arabi's words cannot help us to contain and hold that very experience. It is just a trust with something which is ineffable. And at least what Ibn Arabi has done, he has just given us a taste and feeling, basic taste and feeling of the overall idea, which is otherwise indescribable. Because if you just go by the what I can say, orthodox by the orthodox sense of the religion too, still God is ineffable. He is indescribable, and you cannot describe him like because Allah Almighty says, "Walam yakul lahu kufuwan ahad." He is not like anything, and anything means anything. Whether it's the word of mouth, you cannot describe him like anything you want to describe him by the word of mouth. So Ibn Arabi too is also helpless, and we too are helpless. But at least Ibn Arabi is trying to depict his helplessness, that I am just trying to fathom and swim across the sea, which is very deep, which has no other banks, and you cannot see it. So it's all, it's our ages, it's our abdiyat, it's our, what I can say, servitude to Almighty Allah, that at last we can say, just like Prophet sallallahu alaihi wasallam said, La usi sanan alayka anta kama asnait ala nafsi. Oh Almighty Allah, we cannot praise you like you can praise yourself. So I think it is something, is an ineffable reality. And what this wahatul wujud or things like these are just like human traits. These are just like small children playing on the shore of a vast sea with the pebbles and trying to create an idea of something which is otherwise ineffable. I can say this because I have no other words to describe it like this.
Thank you, sir. Thank you, sir. Oh, sir, one more question. Sir, actually, I was talking to a friend yesterday. So he was talking about, I think, if I'm not wrong, about 7 rishis of Kashmir, and among them, or some silsila. Among there were 7 rishis, and he was talking about, I think, some Sheikh Abdul Qadir Kehnai is his lakab. So, and there's others, I think, in Ladid's poetry somewhere she talks about Kehnumas Kehtam Drao. So I was wondering, how is Kehna, or I think if it can be translated as nothingness, seen in Sufism, or for that matter in Kashmiri Sufism, if you can elaborate on it. Or is it, I mean, is it being like nothing and being, is it the same thing, or nothing is something other than being, pure being?
Yes. Nothing means that whatever whatever thing has a relative being.
Yes, sir.
You see it in relativity. That it is a relative thing is nothing, because everything because things in relativity to each other, they exist because of one or another thing. But God Almighty, Allah, He is the absolute being above these relativities. For example, let me clear it like this way. If you are something, for example, a Maulvi Sahab, you are a Maulvi. The most fundamental impediment in your way toward God is your own Maulviyat. Maulvi always looks towards upon his own being a Maulvi, and he cannot find God because he is only after a Maulvi. A mystic or a peer sahab, or a peer, simply a dervish, he sees himself as a dervish, as a peer, and the most greatest stumbling block in the way of a peer sahab, in the way of a mystic, is his own stature of being a mystic, and he has to be nothing. And you have not to become something, because if you want to become something, then still you are putting limitations around yourself, that I have to be like this. God is limitless, God is endless, and you have to throw yourself with the wave, and wherever it carries you, this is taslim, this is raza. You have to even surrender your own will and become kin, become nothing by surrendering your will, and you have to be on the makami raza. For example, a Kashmiri saint says, makami raza sar me dorum kartam fudras. When you leave your own this will and you entrust your will to the will of God, then the will of God becomes your will, and you yourself become not, and but you become everything, because now you are with the flow. For example, if you just throw a leaflet upon the surface of the river, is it leaflet or is it river which moves on? In a sense, these are both, because leaflet too is moving, and in a way river too is moving, but it is the leaflet which is dead to itself, and now the flow of the river is the flow of the leaflet as such. So when it becomes kehnu, it becomes everything, it becomes the flow of the river. Thank you.
Yes, sir. Thank you, sir. Thank you.
Thank you, Doctor. That was a lovely answer. Thank you very much for that. Anyone else like to ask a question? Is Naveed Ahmed, you trying to say something?
Assalamu alaikum, Doctor.
Yes, please, go ahead.
Sir, it's always an honor to listen to you, whether face-to-face, whether it's on internet, Facebook, or YouTube. So today, I would like to answer, as I'm the novice to this spiritualism, or I would say the Sufism. I would like to know, as a novice, I would like to know what is the spiritual heart, because the terminology used in the Quran is qalb. So is it this physical heart, or is it something else? I have this very sort of confusion. Thank you so much.
Basically, the heart used in the Quranic parlance, Quran has used many words for this heart. Sometimes it has used fuad. and at times it has used qalb. Qalb is something which is derived from inqalab, which means which changes. Because when you say there's an inqalab, there's a revolution, that the things have changed. And qalb is derived from this very munqalab, inqalab thing, and it means which changes. That is, qalb means that it changes its status, that it is like, sometimes it is, for example, let me put it in a perspective. Basically, a person is a blend of two things. When you say ruh means the divine command, amr of God, which has been breathed into a man, and it is the divine principle in man. And another thing is nafs. Nafs means that your own self, your own ego, which you have created, and which has been created by social conditioning and this and that. And the divine principle, it always carries you upwards. And this principle of nafs, it always carries you downward towards your earthly journey. And now, if there are two things, one is going upward, ruh, and another is going downward, then why doesn't the human self become stirred apart? There's a third principle which binds these two distinct and different things together, and this is qalb. Qalb is just like a rope which ties nafs and ruh together. Ruh carries you upwards and nafs carries you downward, and these are basically like just two estranged, like an estranged couple, wife and a husband. Wife doesn't want to live with husband, and husband doesn't want to live with his wife, but they both have a child, and it is for the future of the child that they want to live together. And this child who binds them. Qalb is the child of the changing conditions of the towards ruh and towards nafs, and which binds you together and gives you a sense of existence. But what do you mean by fuad? Fuad is the sanctorium of your inner being. And this is not, and this is something else. And what you say about biological heart is something different. And Quran has not, and religion has not used heart in the sense of the biological heart. And now you have this qalb, which is always struggling between this and that. And you have fuad, which when you surpass these feelings of lawama, sometimes going towards nafs, sometimes going, and when you have yaksui, when you have unity of purpose, you reach towards the fuad, where the doors get opened and you perceive the reality in your own inner sanctorium of your own being. Thank you.
Sir, sorry to interrupt, sir. I have one more question related to this qalb, sir.
Yes.
Sir, actually, there is a concept called as the activation of qalb. And sir, is it, for example, are there some signs for this activation of qalb? What are the, I would like to say, the profound signs that we can say that this person has his qalb is activated or something like that? Can you please elaborate?
Activation of qalb basically means when your qalb is gradually, it becomes free from the shackles of nafs, and it moves towards your ruh, it moves towards spirituality. And this is the phenomenon which you said that qalb jari ho gaya, matlab. So it's like this. And yes, it has its own manifestations that will manifest it. For example, when your qalb gets on moving like this, so you feel a deeper meaning to your own daily routines. For example, you are offering salah, but you are offering it just like people offer salah, just like to finish the salah. That you have to finish it in 5 minutes or 10 minutes. But for those people who want to find a deeper meaning in their own worship, they don't actually finish it. They enter into something else by means of the salah. That is, by being in the act of salah, they are leaving this phenomenon of salah to, and they are moving further apart from salah. That means this salah, this namaz becomes for them a launching pad, and they don't get stuck into the salah. For example, Rumi says, "Bakhuda khabar nadan." darım, ki nimaz mi guzarım, ki tamam şud ruku ki falan şud imami. By God, I don't have even an iota of the sense that how I have completed my salah. I don't even know that who is the imam, and I don't even know when I have completed my ruku and my sujood. For example, Prophet ﷺ said about this prayer, Antabudallah ka'annaka tara. You must, ihsan is that you must pray just like as if you are seeing towards God, you are looking at God. So first and foremost thing is that you just find deeper meaning into the things, and you become beragbat. You become less and less attached towards the things which are connected to your nafsaniyat, and you become more and more attached to the things of the spiritual stuff. I think I can just convey it like
Thank you,
this.
sir. Thank you so much. Thank you so much.
Okay.
That is a beautiful answer. Thank you very much. It reminds me of a statement I've heard that if you want to find God, God is hiding in the heart of man. So man as the personal human and God as divine, it's as if there's two separate things. They never meet. But in the heart is where they can meet. Or if we want to seek God, this is where we go, which implies we leave the mind and the thinking and the logic and the material alone and go in an exactly opposite direction. And this is where we can find God inside us. It's beautiful what you said. He's like the interface between the two. Thank you. Anyone else like to have a question?
May I come in, Frank?
Yes, please, Dr. Akib, go ahead.
Thank you. Although I don't have any question or a clarification, I just want to thank the speaker, Dr. Sameer Siddiqui, because although we have been conducting sessions on Ibn Arabi since 2019, but this has been a treat, actually. In the past also, we tried to get in with the speaker, but due to some issues, we could not. But we thank the speaker. We thank Dr. Marusha also that today it was possible for us to hear the speaker on Ibn Arabi and different experiences of the speaker. I think it means a lot because the power and the experiences of the speaker were a testimony to how truth flows in every created being, especially providing a window to the Kashmiri reception of Ibn Arabi's teachings. And I must confess that it was one of the wonderful sessions on Ibn Arabi among many, because the very experiences of the speaker were flowing through his words. The very power of the truth was flowing through his words, and that is the actual reason we are here today, listening to his words. And we also thank and we also wish we could continue this in the future, and listening to the power and listening to the mysteries from the from the learned speaker. Thanks once again.
Thank you. Thank you.
Yes, beautifully said. Thank you, Dr. Akib. Yep. I'd like to second that as well, actually, Dr. Siddiqui, and put some pressure on you to allow the internet to take over from you, even if it's for our sake, because we need you. We need to hear you, your whatever you have to say. You may think that you don't know much and the flow is not there, but even with that lack of flow that you're talking about, you are miles ahead of us in terms of you still help us to get closer to God. So don't assume that you're not helping us. You are helping us enormously, even when you think you may not be. So I'd like to encourage you and ask you if you wouldn't mind, when we ask you again to come, to please think that we are humbly wanting to ask you.
It will be my pleasure, inshallah.
Thank you. Thank you.
Thank you.
Okay, anyone else like to ask any questions before we may conclude? Sorry, I heard a girl's voice there. Is that someone? wanting to ask a question? Oh, yes, sorry. GQ Wani, please go ahead. Yes.
Assalamu alaikum.
Walaikum salam.
Sir, thank you very much for your presentation. Jazakallah khaira. I have a question. You said that the Quran has not used the word qalb in the sense of the biological heart. I want to know, is there any relationship between the biological heart and the qalb? Because there is a verse in the Quran in Surah Al-Hajj, فَإِنَّهَا لَا تَعْمَلْ أَبْصَارُ وَلَكِنْ تَعْمَلْ قُلُوبُ الَّتِي فِي الصُّدُورِ. Likewise, the Prophet ﷺ is reported to have said, Ala inna fil jasadi muzghah iza saluhat saluhal jasadu kullu wa iza fasadat fasadal jasadu kullu ala wahiyal qalb. So is there any relationship between the biological heart and the qalb? Thank you.
What I was trying to say was that this piece of flesh, which pumps blood, circulates blood in your body, it is verily, it's hot. It's hot. But it's not only linked to your mystical experience and deep-seated experience, or not linked to this very biological organ, but there is something deep and intricate within this very thing. I told you that the inner sanctum sanctorium of your heart. So it's just like, what I can say, that it has a feeling content. Your biological heart, when your heart throbs robustly, and when your heart beats robustly at any instance when you are very angry or when you are very happy, that means that it has a feeling content in it. But that very feeling content, it is not only limited to this very biological construction and this enlargement of your heart. It is something deeper. So there is a connection of feeling, that whatever your experiences are, then you have a feeling content of those very experiences in your this biological heart. But it's not, your mystical experience are not only limited to this very, your experiential part is something different, and this is the content. This is the content of feeling that you just grasp by this. And when your feeling is up to the mark and in tune with your experience, then this muzga, it's saluhat, it too becomes soleh, it too becomes pious as per your own experiences. But if your experiences are not that very pious, if your experiences are only materialistic, if your experiences are constricted by your bias, by your ignorance, by your those subjective conditioning, so your heart too, it doesn't feel like it should feel. Just like Sadi says, Bani Adam azai yak digaran, kidar afriniz yak jawharan, agar uzve badarad avrud rozgar, digar uzu harana manat karar, to kaz mehnate digara begami, nashayat ke namat nehad admi. When you don't have those up to the mark experiences, that the feeling content of your heart, it too becomes inferior. Then you are not receptive to the pain of others. So your feeling content too, it too gets deteriorated. And it was in this sense that I was saying.
Thank you.
Okay, anyone else likes to ask a question? We're getting close to time to thank Dr. Siddiqui for his time. So does anyone maybe make this one a last question?
Another hand is raised. Another hand is raised.
Yes.
Go ahead, Dr. Tanvir Hayat, please.
Yes, Assalamu alaikum, Dr.
Sorry, yeah.
Sir, just I want to clear my misconception that is Wahdatul Wujud just a philosophical term, or is it a belief among the Muslims?
As regards the word Wahdatul Wujud, Ibn Arabi has not even used it a single time in his those huge compendium Futuhatul Makkiyah or Fususul Hikam. Later on, it has been paraphrased like Wahdatul Wujud. So he has not just himself coined the term Wahdatul Wujud. If you look at Fusus or if you look at Fususul Hikam, then when you get a feeling of his philosophy, the later on people, I don't know where from this term was then later on taken, Wahdatul Wujud. So, but it definitely describes Ibn Arabi's intent. So as regards whether it is a belief or not, I think belief is a concrete term. Belief is a concrete term, and belief is more of what I can say. It brings you towards those narrow and confusing labyrinths of scholasticism. That you are believing something like, and this your belief, then it has different articles of faith and like this. When Ibn Arabi speaks about this Wahdatul Wujud, for him it's not a belief. Belief is something that you have to fix an idea of something. And what is Wahdatul Wujud? It is an after effect of an experience. It is not premeditated, that you have to believe like this, and then you have to act upon this. Wahdatul Wujud is the after effect of your action, after effect of your act of experiencing God. So I don't think it is a belief as such. Thank you.
I also just wanted to thank you, Sameer Sahab, for this profound and illuminating session. I hope you will be with us in future as well. And
Inshallah.
there are many questions and queries. We can keep them for, I think, other meetings as well. You had already requested that you will be available only by 11:30, so we already stretched it a bit. So again, thank you. I hope you will be.
I now request you that let I be also included within this family, so that I too may listen often. I too will attend, and I too may listen and have an interaction. And occasionally, if you find it feasible, I can again talk to you, but for the purpose of listening, because it is an enlightening discourse often. So I too want to get included in this family of yours. Thank you.
Yes, that we will be our privilege. We will be adding you. You will just share with which number, Ajaz Saab's number or someone else's number, which we will include
Okay,
here. Then.
Ajaz Saab, this is fine. Okay.
Okay. Thank you. I hope.
Yeah, Frank, there is a question from Badrun Nisa.
I thought, okay, go ahead, Badrunisa. Is that okay, Dr. Siddiqui? You have more time? Or?
Okay,
Sorry.
one question.
One more question. Thank you very much, Dr. Siddiqui. Go ahead.
So it's really, Assalamu alaikum first. Actually, this question is related to Ibn Arabi's, one of the tenet of Metaphysics of Love. So when I read Ibn Arabi, he equates God's love to mother's love. Usually Islam is considered to be a very patriarchal religion, but he equates God's love to maternal love when he says that on the God's throne there are two words written, Rahman, Rahim, and both come from the root word of Rahma, which means womb in Arabic. So he equates it with mother's love. Can you elucidate a bit more on what he means and what he wants to show through this?
Basically, you see that throughout this Fusus and throughout this Futuhatul Makkiyah, Ibn Arabi has a habit of playing with the words, and he brings different shades of the same color together. For example, white is not only a color, it has very shades. It's off-white, it is full white, it is something like, so he brings all connotations and all shades of meaning of a word. And this is the originality of Ibn Arabi, where he differs from the orthodoxy. you are correct that the whether orthodox is the proper word to use or not. I don't have any other word. If you have, so let me use it in a lighter mode. So whenever this religious orthodoxy, they have always tried to just present God in a way just like God himself is a great alim, although he is, but they are trying to present God as, scholars are always trying to present God as a scholar. You know, different people have their own concepts of God according to their own thinking. For example, if anybody doesn't get offended, let me say, for example, you have various makatib fikr in Islam. For example, you have the tradition of Maulana Maududi alayhi rahma, and one gets a feel that they are presenting God just like a politician. Somebody is presenting God just like a faqih. For example, for Deoband school of thought, God, Allah is, most of his activities are concerned only with fiqh. For example, for Barelvis, God is just a lover, and Noor Muhammad Sallallahu Prophet Sallallahu Wasallam is his beloved. It is the saga of love, and they just present God in this thing. And Sufis present God in their own terms. So this is the originality of Ibn Arabi, originality of his feeling, that whatever he feels and whatever he takes from the words, and he just puts it before you. And by rahmah of God, raham, it's taken from the root word womb. When you say about Prophet Sallallahu Alaihi Wasallam, "Wama arsalnaka illa rahmatul lil alameen," O Prophet Sallallahu Alaihi Wasallam, we have not sent you down upon the earth, but only as a mercy unto the world. And here too, Ibn Arabi says that Prophet Sallallahu Alaihi Wasallam's his blessings, they are just like the womb of the mother in which both the worlds are contained. So the most profound aspect of the love and mercy is mother, and Ibn Arabi has showed it like this. And Ibn Arabi is so much honest in his dealings that even when he says at times, if you want to contemplate upon the divine beauty, you have to contemplate it in something like he says that in the beauty of a woman. Now, it was provocative for most of the people, but what he meant, it was something that most of the people, their idea of beauty, and he was trying to make it understandable to his contemporary times, that how they took the idea of beauty. He wanted to bring the larger point home, even if he used the similes and metaphors gathered from the day-to-day course of human life. And this is his originality, I think.
Thank you, Dr. Siddiqui, and thank you very much for allowing this time. It's an hour and a half of your time to come and share with us. We certainly really more than appreciate it very much, and we're looking forward to seeing you again. That will be fantastic if you can make it. I will add your name to the list of people that receive the email invitations. So when someone else speaks, we would be honored by you joining us. And even if nobody speaks sometimes, and we don't even have to feel you have to come and prepare a talk, we can just talk amongst friends and learn from each other, learn from you and your presence. So thank you very much. And thank you everyone for coming. And importantly, I want to thank Dr. Maruf Shah for introducing us to Dr. Siddiqui. That is a beautiful thing that happened. Thank you. Bye-bye.
Thank you.